Hey guys, welcome to another video. Tonight I'm going to show you how to do the continuous join as you go granny squares. I really like this method. It's super fun, and once you get the hang of it, it just zips up a blanket really fast, and I think you will never sew a granny square together ever again. So I encourage you to definitely try this one. This one in particular is a little bit different because the way I'm going to be joining them will end up with a little bit of like a braided or a rope-like effect look to it. It's the same join that I used for my son's blanket. It's also the one that's going to be used in the fin blanket pattern. And I'll have a description to that pattern available in my Etsy shop in the description box below. So I'm just going to show you real quickly basically what we're doing. So I added a couple more granny squares. I'm only going to be joining 4 just so that the tutorial isn't crazy long. But I added another one just to show you that you keep going. What we're going to do is we're going to start in the corner, the top right-hand corner of our work, and we're going to work along the sides of one of the granny squares, down the side, and then we're going to join at this corner. We're only going to complete half that corner, and we're going to join another granny square and work our way up, over, and down, only working half of a corner, then attaching another granny square, working up, over, and down. And then what we do is we go along the bottom and we do it all in one go, finishing off those corners that we had only done half of. And then when we get over here, instead of going back up to the beginning to finish this first granny square here, we attach another one down below and we do the exact same thing. We snag our way around, go across the bottom. When you're done doing all of your rows, joining all of them, you're going to go across the very bottom of the blanket, and then you're going to go all the way back up the side, treating it exactly like you had done the bottoms of all of these. So in the end, however many skeins it takes you to join your blanket, usually, I don't know, 1 or 2 skeins, depending on the size of the skein, are the only tails that you should have to sew in at the end of this. So it's a huge time saver. It's a huge yarn saver. And once you get the swing of it, it's really fun. So let's begin. Sorry, you're going to have to bear with me. I'm fighting off a little bit of a cold. So I've got my water handy. Hopefully I don't get too froggy on you guys. Pause for a sip of water. Okay. So I'm going to be using a worsted weight yarn tonight. It's a number 4, and I'm going to be using the recommended hook size, which is a 5mm. Okay, these are 4 squares that didn't end up in my son's blanket, so I conveniently had them left over, so I figured I'd use them for this tutorial. So I'm going to show you the 2 ways of joining once I get over here. There's an quote-unquote invisible way, and then there is the braided, kind of more decorative look. And it's literally a matter of, yarning through. It's just a different hook approach, really. It's so easy. The difference between the 2 is very minimal. You can switch back and forth very easily. And once you have 2 of them in your back pocket, you're going to be unstoppable. So I'm going to assume that you know all of your basic stitches, and we're just going to whiz through this so that the tutorial doesn't take too long. So we're going to start by taking our top right hand square at the very top of our blanket, and we're going to drape over the yarn and insert it into the top right hand corner of that square. Oh, sorry, you do not drape it over just yet. You want to drape it over on the other side. Like so. Okay, pull it through, yarn over both of them, pulling them through, and then just chain 1. This will count as your first double crochet. We're going to do 2 double crochets into the corner. Chain 2. And 3 double crochets, my goodness, to complete that corner. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, now if you are someone who chains 1 or chains 3 in the corner, you can go ahead and do that. If you chain 1 in between your clusters, go ahead and do that as well, okay? So this works any way. You make it however the way, or you crochet it however you crochet your granny squares, okay? So play around with whatever works for you. I don't chain in between my clusters, and I chain 2 in my corners, but this will work any way that you do it. Okay, so we're just going to work along the top of our granny square to the corner here, just as we would any typical granny square. So putting 3 double crochets in each space along the top. Okay, and when you get to this corner, you're going to work this corner as per normal, or as per usual. So 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 double crochets. And then we're going to work down the side of this granny square until we get to this corner, and we're only going to work half of that corner. Okay, so let's work down the side, putting 3 double crochets in each space. Oops. Okay, now I'm at my corner. I'm only going to do 3 double crochets and complete half of that corner. Okay. Okay, so let's pause and take a break. Let's look at what we've done. We started in the top right-hand corner of our row, the very top right-hand corner of our blanket. We worked along this on the top and then down the side. Now we're going to join our next square. Okay, so I'm going to grab my next square. And you can join into any corner, it doesn't matter. Okay, I'm gonna put my loop back on my hook, and I'm going to chain 2, 1, 2. And then I'm gonna do what's called a standing stitch. And I'm going to yarn over and insert my hook from the top to the back, making sure my working yarn is behind my square here. And I'm going to complete a double crochet like you would normally. Okay, so now that's attached. And I'm going to complete half of this corner. So just work 2 more double crochets into that spot. And it's a little fiddly, but now you can see this is how we're headed, up and over and back down the other side. Okay, now I'm going to show you the quote-unquote invisible way of joining them. So this way is a really good way if you want a really flat seam, and if you have squares that are going to be like different colors in the join as you go method. So this is the way you would normally do it. You take your hook, find your next space up here, and insert your hook from the front to the back. Okay, you're going to yarn over and pull it through. That's joined. Okay, and then you would complete 3 double crochets into this next space on your green square here, on the square you're joining, and you do that exact same thing again. So you find your next space, insert from the front to the back, yarn over, and pull it through. Effectively, you're slip stitching them together. Yarn over and complete 3 double crochets in your next space. Okay, and I'm going to go up just this side of the granny square. I'm going to keep doing that all the way to the top just so that I can show you what this looks like, and then I'm going to show you the braided approach, and you'll see what a difference it makes. And then you can choose for yourself however you would like to join them. It's nice to have both methods in your back pocket. And I would say I probably use this one the most, because I do a lot of like Grafgan type work. Okay, so I'll show you that. So when you look at it, it's pretty flat. Okay, that's the front, and that's how it looks on the back. You've got your little slip stitch loops there. Okay, so pretty flat, pretty basic. It's a nice clean look. So I'm gonna pull that out, and now I'm gonna show you how to do the braided or kind of rope-like effect. Okay, it's really simple. So I did my standing stitch and I joined the corner of my square here, and I'm going to yarn over and complete 2 double crochets. Okay, just like we did the other one. The only thing that makes this one different is that I'm going to pull up a loop. Okay, I'm going to then insert from the front to the back and pull this loop underneath and chain 1. That is the only difference, folks. Okay, 3 double crochets into your next space. You may think it's a little slower because you have to pull up the loop and insert, but once you get going, you find a rhythm, and I find it doesn't take any longer at all. And it really creates a really pretty look, even on darker yarns. So if you're following along with the Fin blanket pattern, you're actually joining with the color navy blue. I couldn't use navy blue in the tutorial because it just doesn't show up well enough. But it looks really beautiful in dark yarns, especially when you're doing like a join in all one color for your squares. It just kind of gives your blanket a little extra something. Okay, get all the way to the top, complete half of this corner with your 3 double crochets. Okay, you work the corners the exact same way. Okay, so we're gonna chain 1, and I don't take this off and do anything differently. Okay, for both methods, you keep your yarn on your hook, insert from front to back, and then chain 1. Okay, so I'm just going to pull back so you can see the difference. Isn't that beautiful? Let's see if I can pull it up. So really, it's not much of a difference, but it's just enough to make it a little more interesting. And I think it's really, really beautiful. It's kind of rope-like or braided. I don't know. What do you guys think? I love it. So let's continue on. I'm going to just continue on with this way because that's the way I joined the blanket in the pattern. So that's the way I'm going to do it. But I wanted you guys to see both ways. So I'm going to complete this corner with 3 double crochets. You can, if you want, if you're doing the braided way, you can, when you're working this corner, pull up the loop, work under and pull it through. But I find it seems a little more secure and less bulky when working the corners if I just do them both the same way. And that is keeping the yarn on the hook, inserting from front to back, and then just slip stitching it together. The corners can get a little crowded, if you will. So we're just going to work our 3 double crochets in each space along the top of this square here. Oops. And we're going to work this corner just like normal. 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets, okay? And then work back down the side of this one. Almost there. And if I'm going too fast at any point, feel free to pause the video, get caught up. Okay, so we're at the bottom of our corner. Now, if you are adding more squares, which you probably are because you're not making a blanket that's 4 by 4, you're probably making one that's more like 7 by 9, you would just complete half this corner, chain 2, do your standing crochet double, oh my gosh, your standing double crochet stitch, that is a mouthful, and you would join into the next corner of your next square, work up the top, up the side, over the top, and then down the other side, and keep going in making that snake pattern, okay? And once you get to the end of your row, you're gonna flip it over, okay, so that we have our tops underneath, and we're gonna finish the corner like you normally would. So 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets. I'm just gonna flip them over so I can get more purchase on this here. And then you're going to work across the bottoms of those squares, okay? And I'll show you what to do when we get to this join. So 3 double crochets in each space along the bottom. Oops, running out of yarn here. Not good. Okay, almost at my corner. Okay, so when I get to my corner, I only worked half of it, so I have to finish it. I have to work my 3 double crochets in there, right? So I do that, my 3 double crochets in there. Okay, and now to join this, I'm going to chain 1, and then I'm just going to slip stitch into this space. So slip stitch around like so, and then chain 1. And then you're going to finish this corner over here with your 3 double crochets. It is that easy, and you do that all the way along the bottom of your row. Okay, each one exactly the same. Finish the corner, chain 1, slip stitch, chain 1, 3 double crochet, and off you go. You can see, I think by now, how you would really get into a rhythm of this and how it just zips along so quickly. I can usually have a blanket that's like 7 by 9 squares crocheted together in a day. And that's a whole extra round that you're putting on your squares too, right? So it makes the blanket that much bigger. It's great. This is a really handy method to have in your back pocket. Okay, so we are at the end. Okay, we're at the very end. So I only worked half of my corner in here. Now I'm gonna chain 2. Chain 2 and flip it back around. Okay, and now we're adding the next row. So we're gonna add one here and here and then all the way down your row. So we're gonna do one of those standing double crochet stitches. yarn over, insert your hook into any corner from the front of the square to the back with your working yarn behind it, yarn over, and complete your double crochet, okay? And then work 2 more double crochets in that corner. Then pull up your loop a little bit, find your next space, insert from front to back, pull that loop underneath, and chain 1, okay? And then you work 3 double crochets in your space here. Pull up your loop, insert into your next space, pull that together, chain 1, 3 double crochets. And like after doing this, can you imagine anybody sewing their squares together? Can you? I can't. We're gonna work half of this corner, okay? 3 double crochets. Now is when we chain 1. I'm not gonna take my loop off my hook. I'm gonna find my corner over here, my diagonal corner. Okay, I'm going to insert my hook from front to back and pull that yarn through. Yarn over and pull it through, slip stitch that, and chain 1. Okay, don't overthink it, guys. It's so easy. Join your diagonals, work your half corners. Finish them when they look like they need to be finished. It's that simple. And once you've done it, it won't be as intimidating as it seems. I promise. Work down the side of this square. Okay, we're gonna put 3 double crochets in each of our spaces till we get to the corner. And you guessed it, we're only gonna work half of that corner. I recently did a test bag for someone, and you had to sew all the squares together, and I was practically flopping around on the ground, just dead, dying. It was awful. I don't know why anybody sews, just me. Okay, so we worked half of that corner, chain 2. See how it's coming together? Every once in a while I have to pause and pull it back so you can see where we are, because you end up manipulating and turning and twisting your blanket all over the place, right? So we're going to do one of those standing crochet stitches and insert our hook into the front of the granny square with our working yarn behind it. Don't get all tangled up. And work 2 more double crochet stitches into that corner. Flip it around so you can see where we are. Pull up your loop, find my next one up here. Insert chain 1. And then work up the side of this granny square. Oh dear, got some red in there. Yeah, so I don't know why anybody still sews granny squares together, or even like slip stitching, any of that. Oh my gosh, there's so many ends to tie in. Oh, so much work. Way too much work. Why would you do that to yourself? Okay, so we're coming up on our corner here. So we're going to put half of our corner in, so 3 double crochets. Oops. Oh my goodness. chain 1, and now we go into our diagonal. Okay, so let's find it over here. I'm going to take my hook and insert it from front to back, and yarn over and pull it up through. Okay, really cinch this one down. You want that corner to be tight. Okay, and then chain 1 and complete your corner over here with your 3 double crochets. And let's put it down and have a look, see where we're at. Okay, so that corner's all joined up. Sorry for my shaky camera. My desk is wiggling. Wiggle, wiggle. Okay, so I can insert my hook here. And just keep going along the edge of this. Putting your 3 double crochets. In each space along. So when I get to my corner, I only work half my corner, chain 1, insert from the front to the back into this corner, yarn over, slip stitch that through, chain 1. Okay, complete that corner with 3 double crochets. And then work down the side of this granny square with your 3 double crochets in each stitch. Okay, and when you get to the corner, you work half your crochet, or oh my gosh, half your double crochets here, so 3 of them, and chain 2. And if you're joining another square, you would yarn over and do your standing stitch into the corner of another one and keep going. But I am at the end of my enormous 4 square blanket. So I'm going to complete my corner by flipping my blanket upside down, my sample blanket, and I'm just folding it over for purchase. I have all the right side spacing. It gets all bunchy, you know. We're going to complete the half of that corner there. And then work along the bottom. I should hold it differently. There we go. Work along the bottom, 3 double crochets in each space. Okay, when you get to your corner, okay, you want to work the rest of this corner, so your 3 double crochets. Chain 1, slip stitch into this, and into this chain 2 spot here, like so, and chain 1, sorry. Chain 1, slip stitch, chain 1, and then 3 double crochets into the next corner. And I need to have another sip. I feel a tickle coming on. We're going to work along the bottom edge of this last square here, putting 3 double crochets in each space. When you get to your corner, okay, you're actually going to complete the rest of the blanket. So we've done all of our rows, we've worked along the very bottom edge of the blanket, and now we're at our corner here. Time to chain 2 and flip to the side of the blanket, and we're going to work all the way up to the top where we started. And we do that the exact same way that we did all the other bottoms of the rows. All right, hold it differently. It's so foreign to me to hold it like this, but it's so much easier for you guys to see what I'm doing. So finish this corner, 3 double crochets, and then 3 double crochets in all of your spaces. And you know what? I want to show you something else. One more thing that I've never really addressed in any of my other photos. I want to show you, or out of photos, out of any of my other tutorials. Can you tell I'm sick? So what happens when your skein runs out? Uh-oh, our skein ran out. I like to join my yarn in the middle of one of my granny clusters. So I'm actually going to cut this yarn, and I'm going to work half of a double crochet stitch, okay, leaving a decent tail so that you have lots to weave in and tie a knot with. And I'm just going to hold it down with my pinky finger back here, okay? I'm going to take my other tail and pinch it down as well, okay? And then I'm going to grab my yarn, however I do it here, and complete that stitch with my new yarn, okay? It's a little loosey-goosey because I'm showing you in a tutorial here. And then I just do my next stitch as normal, okay? And you're gonna work along. So that's how you join in a new skein. Really simple. Little on-the-fly learning. Okay, we're gonna complete this corner with 3 double crochets. Chain 1, slip stitch, chain 1, and then 3 double crochets. Oopsies. There we go. We're almost at the beginning. Okay, we made it to the beginning. All we do now is slip stitch into the first double crochet, not into the chain 2. Okay, and fasten off. That's it, guys. We're done. So I'm gonna flip it over so we see the back side of this one where we joined our new yarn. Okay, I don't know if you can see that. And I kind of just like tug on it, make sure it's nice and tight. And I'm gonna put a knot in there. What kind of knot am I gonna put in? I'm gonna put in a sailor's knot. Square knot. Okay, take your right over your left. Okay, cinch it down. Then your left over your right. Okay, weave those ends in. I'm going to cut them off so that they are roughly the same size. Okay, and I am just going to weave it back and forth into the back of these stitches here. If your tail is long enough and you want to weave it into a corner, it's probably a good idea. It's a little more secure, depending on who's going to be using this blanket. If it's like a baby blanket that's going to be washed a lot, I would definitely go to a corner. But you just weave it back and forth 3-4 times, okay, back and forth on itself, and it'll be fine. Okay, so that's locked down, secure. Cut your tails off. Okay, now up in our corner here, I'm going to again flip it over so the back side's facing me, and I'm going to insert into the stitches right beside here and work it down into the backs. Okay, backs of the stitches, and then all along the corner here towards towards this tail. That was our starting tail. And then I'm also going to throw this in the needle like so. Always trying to make sure the tails are the same length because it just makes it easier to pull it through. And you're going to weave it back and forth through this corner here 3 or 4 times. And you're done. Done like dinner. So is my throat right now. Okay. Oh dear. There we go. That's better. Okay. Let's just smooth this out a little bit here. It's all wonky donkey. Okay. There you have it. Our joined squares. Isn't that wonderful? It's so pretty. I love this join. So now you know how to do the continuous join as you go Granny Squares method. Congrats. Have a great time crocheting, guys. Bye for now.